Hey guys, welcome back to Kitchen Court Cases, where we watch court in my kitchen. This episode is called More Money Than Sense, Part 1. I hope you enjoy.
The 37th Circuit Court is now in session with the Honorable Brian K. Kirkham presiding. It is Tuesday, April 11th, 2023 at 8:30 a.m. This is case 2022-2420 DC, Dale Higley versus Heather Borden. Attorney Lisa McNiff represents plaintiff and attorney David Zoglio, defendant.
Good morning to all of you.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning. Before we get started, just to clarify, I do note that we have our next hearing a week from Friday on the April 21st date. I would let you know that we've had some other matters settle or cancel, so I've got some other dates open. I don't know if those would be available to anybody. We have this Thursday and Friday, the 13th and 14th, or next Thursday, the 20th, if those would work for all of you. If they don't, we'll stay with the 21st, but if they do, just thought we might be able to get it on sooner and concluded.
I have those days free, Your Honor.
Okay.
I had a trial scheduled in Branch County this coming Thursday that got rescheduled by the court, so I would have that date available.
Okay. So we can do the 13th then, is that?
Well, Mr. Zoglio, I think had some concerns because we discussed this issue last evening.
Okay.
Your Honor, and if I could just briefly address the court, I'm not trying to deflect off the court's question, but if the court, we have submitted some stipulated exhibits. Counsel and I have been working well together in good faith, and have some stipulated exhibits that the court doesn't have to rule on. And if the court is willing to accept those exhibits going forward, then I'm free to basically look at my calendar. Otherwise, I may have to look at the other day, which is 7 days down the road here on April 21st.
Okay.
But I believe that counsel and I have done this in good faith, and I know she was trying to get some text message exhibits together, and I sort of hustled down there yesterday and got the court my judge's copy of the exhibits. If the court is free to accept those, then I would be more than glad to look at alternative dates that the court is offering. Okay.
Ms. McNiff, do you have any problem with those exhibits?
No, Your Honor. I mean, there are some that I may object to, but we do have some stipulated exhibits, and all of the stipulated exhibits, I absolutely agree should simply be admitted.
Okay. Well, the court, they're not marked in any way other than listed as stipulated exhibits. It would have been, looks like it's a bunch of text messages, et cetera, and some pictures. Court will admit those pursuant to the agreement of the parties. I guess what I'd ask in the future, if you're going to submit those, submit them as stipulated, but also mark them so I know what, if we make reference to them later, we can say, okay, they're being stipulated in as, 1 through 5 or A through, E or whatever it might be. That way it just helps for purposes of future reference is all.
I would be glad to make that more clear for the court. Your Honor, they are actually, there is a separated page in between those exhibits where they are marked, like, I believe there's 5 exhibits.
Right, I see that. You do have it. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't.
Yeah, I thought they were marked as well.
I didn't note that. So they're marked. They're admitted as it'll be 1 through 5 then.
That being said, Your Honor, and as we cross that issue, did the court say that it had April 13th open?
13th, 14th, and the 20th.
I'm absolutely good on the 14th, Your Honor.
Ms. McNiff?
And the 14th, I'm sorry, is this Thursday?
Friday.
Friday. I think I'm good on Friday, but I'd have to double check.
Okay.
I'm wide open, Your Honor.
Are you good Friday?
I think I'm good Friday. I just have to make sure I have care for Oakley that day. Let's say yes.
Okay. Ms. McNiff, I guess you're the only one we have to check.
Let me, if you don't mind me getting up for a second, I can go check my schedule.
Okay, go ahead.
Would that also be at the 8:30 time, Your Honor?
Yes, correct. 8:30.
Okay.
I think you're muted.
You would like to mute me more often than I am, actually.
Yeah.
I can do Friday. I've got a status conference, but I can have somebody else handle it.
Okay. Okay, good. Then what we'll do is we'll put this on our second day for the 14th. We will still keep the 21st on just in the event that we need that, because we did have it originally stated that we're going to need 3 days. So we'll keep the 21st on, but that way it'll allow us to get another date in before that. Okay. With that, Ms. McNiff, are you ready to proceed?
I am, Your Honor.
Mr. Zoglia, are you ready to proceed?
Ready, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. McNiff, do you wish to make an opening statement or proceed to proofs?
I'll proceed to proofs, Your Honor.
Okay.
And do I have a Jennifer Dye in the waiting room?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Let me ask Mr. Zoglio, do you wish to make an opening statement, reserve your opening statement, or waive your opening statement?
Your Honor, I would just make a very brief opening statement.
Okay.
I would like the court to, on behalf of my client, to just keep the custody arrangement the same. We believe that that's in the child's best interest. And my client just makes that request going forward. And once the court hears the testimony in its totality, we're also going to make the same request at the end.
Okay.
That's basically my opening statement, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. McNiff, we'll call your first witness. Let's bring him in.
Thank you, Your Honor. Jennifer Dye.
Jen Dye, okay.
Oh. I'll be right back, guys.
Okay, Ms. Dye.
Hi.
If you would, looks like you're getting to a place where you can speak.
Yes, I am.
Okay, what we're gonna do is we'll take some testimony, so we're gonna have you be sworn in first, so if you raise your right hand, please.
Okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Go ahead, Ms. McNiff.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Dye, can you please spell your last name for us?
DYE.
And do you know the parties?
Yes.
And how do you know them?
I've known DJ since high school.
And do you know Ms. Borden?
Well, I've met her a few times, yes, through Dale and stuff, yes.
Okay. And it looks like you're working.
I am.
Where are you working?
I work at Oaklawn.
Okay. And what's your position there?
I'm a PACU nurse.
Okay. And
I work in the recovery room as a nurse.
Thank you. And
Do you
have any children?
I do. I have two. One's 11 and one is 7.
And how often do you see Mr. Higley?
I don't know, probably about every other week. We usually get the kids together. Usually when he has Oakley.
Okay. And so you know Oakley.
Yes.
And when you see
Yep.
Oakley and Mr. Higley together, what do you observe about their relationship?
I mean, she loves her dad. They like playing together. He plays really well with her. He plays with my kids. It's a good relationship.
Okay. And have you ever seen him discipline Oakley?
No, I mean, he doesn't yell at her by no means. He'll be like, no, you probably shouldn't do that. But he doesn't get after him like I get after my kids, to be honest. So no, I mean, he'll tell her not to do something, but that's it.
Have you ever seen him use any corporal discipline?
No. Nope.
Have you ever seen him inappropriately angry?
Nope.
Would you allow him to be alone with your children?
Yes. I leave my son with him. When my daughter has dance, he'll watch him when I run her to dance class.
And have you ever seen Mr. Higley have a beer?
Not with his daughter. No.
Other than like when he doesn't have his daughter, have you ever seen him drink?
I've seen him have a beer once in a while, but not only maybe once. That's about it.
Have you ever seen him intoxicated when he does have Oakley?
No, never.
How would you characterize Mr. Higley as a father and
He's very caring. He cares about his daughter. He's always worried about her.
You just cut out that for that last part. I don't know if everybody else was able to hear you or I wasn't.
I know. I see that my volume kind of went down. I said he's a good dad.
Is he responsible?
Yes.
Do you have any concerns at all about his ability to take care of Oakley?
No.
I have no further questions.
Okay. Mr. Zoglio, any cross-examination?
Thank you, Your Honor. Am I correct, ma'am?
I can barely hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me better now?
Not really. You guys are like, for some reason, the volume's not as loud as it was before.
Is that for both attorneys or just for me?
For both. It changed like a couple minutes ago.
Okay. I don't know. My volume's turned all the way up here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can hear you, just not as well.
Okay. Well, I'll try to speak up the best I can. Is it my
It's okay.
understanding?
Just might put the phone closer to my ear.
Okay, thank you. It's my understanding that in your testimony, ma'am, you said that Mr. Higley, you've seen him drink once. Is that right?
Yes, once. Yes, yes,
So in all the time that you've stayed over there and your testimony, you've only seen him have one beer.
yes, yes. We don't drink when I don't drink when I have my kids, and we're usually only together with our kids. And I don't ever have anything with my children.
Is it fair to say that you weren't around Heather and Dale when they were living together? Is that fair to say?
That's, mostly, yes. I was around them a little bit at the end when he'd been in his motorcycle accident, but in general, no, I really wasn't around much when they were living together.
So before the motorcycle accident, you can't testify to what his drinking habits were, right?
That's correct.
Did you, when you were over there after the motorcycle accident, did you ever see a keg in his house?
I have never seen one, no.
Have you frequented any bars with him, such as the Grand River Brewery or the Dark Horse Brewery?
I have been to the Grand River with him one time, but I've never been to Dark Horse with him.
When did you go with him to the Grand River Brewery? Can you give us an approximate date?
It was on St. Patrick's Day.
So it's just recently, correct?
Yes.
All right. And I assume at the Grand River Brewery, you both were drinking for St. Patrick's.
I was not, no.
Okay.
I was on call for work, so no.
Okay. Was Mr. Higley drinking?
He had one beer when I was there.
Have you ever been in any other beers, such as, or other places with Dale Higley, such as Coscarelli's or any other frequent place?
No, we were just in Chicago recently, but we didn't drink it all while we were there.
Oh, did you go to any bars in Chicago?
No, we went to a restaurant and had pizza, but that was it. No, I don't do any of that with my children.
Was Oakley with you at St. Patrick's Day with you and Mr. Higley?
No, neither one of us had our children.
So the one time that you saw him drink was at home, or was it at the Grand River Brewery?
It was on St. Patrick's Day. That was the only time.
That was,
like I said, we don't drink with our kids.
That was this past St. Patrick's Day in March, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Did you have a good time at the brewery with him?
Yeah.
Okay.
We just sat there and talked. I drank water and we sat there.
So you drank water at the Grand River Brewery. Why didn't you just drink water at home? Why go to the Grand River Brewery?
Because I didn't have my children. Because I didn't have my children, and I don't get to not have my children very often. So we went down there and I got something to eat.
Oh, okay. How often do
my
you
children
see
don't go to their dads all the time.
Okay. How often do you see your children, Miss Dye?
I have my children full time. I have full custody of my kids, so they only go to their dads very rarely.
Okay. So in your testimony, Miss Dye, you also said that that you've only met my client a few times. How many times is a few times? 3, 4?
I mean, I would say a handful. 10. I met her more when it was the accident. We talked more during his accident with the motorcycle. So,
Did you?
quite a few times then.
And so you talked to my client about Dale's situation with the motorcycle and his accident, correct?
Yeah, I was at the hospital, yes.
Okay, and my client was also at the hospital?
Yes.
All right. Do you know who was taking care of Oakley while my client was at the hospital and you were at the hospital and Dale was in the hospital?
I think that her mom was there. I believe it was her mom.
Heather's mom?
Yes, I believe so.
Objection, if she doesn't know, could we clarify or lay a better foundation as to how she would have known that?
Alice, go ahead, lay the foundation.
Okay, so you were in the hospital and I already asked you this, but I just want to lay a better foundation and clarify. You were in the hospital helping with Dale, along with Dale was obviously in the hospital and Heather was in the hospital, correct?
I came up there to stay while Heather went home at nighttime.
Okay.
So I stayed with him at nighttime when she went home. But so we would like cross paths between the two of us.
And when I asked you who was taking care of Oakley, you said her mom, right?
I think while Heather was up at the hospital, while Heather had been up there, I believe her mom was there. And then I came up to relieve Heather so she could go home to be with Oakley at night.
Okay.
The 2 nights that I stayed there.
Who watched Oakley while all 3 of you were in the hospital?
I think her mom was there. I believe her mom was there, but Heather would only be there for like us changing places, or she'd come back up in the morning. And I'm pretty sure Oakley was with her mom when she came back up in the morning. And then I would leave to go home.
Okay. So
I just stayed with Dale in the evening.
So just to clarify, while Dale was in the hospital after his motorcycle accident, either Heather or her mom was watching the child. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
All right.
I believe so.
So you've never actually, and I know I asked you this, but when they were living together, when Heather and Dale were living together, you can't testify here about Dale's drinking habits or how he acted. Is that right?
Correct. Correct.
Have you been a caregiver of Oakley at any time?
No. I mean, we've been together, done stuff together, but I've never just kept her myself.
Okay. What are your work hours as a nurse?
I work 7:30 to 5, 4 days a week.
7:30 to 5, you said?
Yeah, 4 days a week.
4 days a week. And are those 4 days random?
It's usually Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, but sometimes it's random. It's just during the week.
You consider it a full-time nurse?
I am, yes.
All right.
Yes.
My understanding is that are you planning on being a caregiver for this child while Dale is working?
Not to my knowledge, no.
So you don't plan on being over at the house on your days off to watch Dale if he has to go cut trees down?
Not unless he asks me if he needs help. I mean, that's not my plan, but if he needs help, I can.
Do you think you're an appropriate caregiver for this child?
I would hope so. I mean, I have 2 children, so I would hope so.
Okay. My understanding is that Dale lost his mother recently. Is that right?
Yeah, it was a year ago, January.
Were you involved in the care for his mother?
I would, and I helped at the end. Yes,
You helped.
I
at
was
the
there when
end?
she passed away.
Did you deliver?
I was there when
her-
she passed away. Yes,
Okay. Did you deliver her morphine when she passed away?
Your Honor,
I
I
did. Yes.
object to the relevancy.
Okay,
Your Honor,
Mr. Zoglia, what's the relevance?
Your Honor, the relevancy in this case is that she said that she may be a caregiver of the child. And so as such, I think her testimony is relevant. I think this testimony is relevant because the court could get some insight on her caregiving abilities. And so I believe that would go to the custody factors. So I believe that's the relevance.
Okay, well, I think it's limited relevance. I'll let you examine some of it. Please don't belabor it, though.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, ma'am, is it true that you gave her a
Hold on. I need to just step in here for one quick second. I don't know what he's getting her to admit. This is a witness in their custody or divorce case who seems to be his sister and a nurse. And she's just, I really hope she's not about to say that she gave her a fatal dose of a drug. Oh my gosh. Anyways, yeah, let's continue. Wow, this is a little feisty already.
morphine at the time of her death?
Yes, she was on hospice, so I gave her morphine. Yes,
Did you have the authority to do that?
every person there had the authority to do that because she was on hospice.
Do you believe that before you get make any medical decisions for Oakley, that you should consult Oakley's mother?
I would make no decisions on Oakley. I mean, I'm not going to make any decisions on her. She's not my child. So I can watch her. If there was any kind of medical emergency, I would be contacting her parents. I would not be making any decisions like that. She's not mine.
Let me clarify. You're alone with Oakley, and something happens, and Dale is cutting trees down somewhere, and you can't get a hold of him. Would you call the mother?
Then yes, I would contact her mother.
Do you have her contact information?
I do, yes. Because I would make no decisions on her.
Couple more questions for you, ma'am. You watch your children. You said you have them full time in your care, correct?
Correct.
All right, that's a full time job, right?
Yes. Yes.
Do you believe that a parent that has custody full time should be able to watch the child full time under any circumstances?
As in, you mean not working?
No, as in, I'm not saying not working. I'm saying once you take on that let me rephrase. Once you take on that responsibility, that's a big responsibility, isn't it? Full time.
Well, yes. Yes, it is.
Are you currently living with Mr. Higley?
No.
How often do you go over there?
Well, usually he comes over to my house when he has Oakley, and so we see him probably about every other week when he has her.
How often do you go over to his house?
I've only been there maybe twice, 3 times at the most. They come to our house.
All right, I don't have any further questions at this time, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms. McNiff, any redirect?
I have a few questions. Ms. Dye, Mr. Zoglio asked you if you were living with Mr. Higley. Are you in any way romantically involved?
No. No, not at all.
How would you characterize your relationship with Mr. Higley?
We're just friends. We're friends that we hang out with our children, and I mean, we'll hang out without our kids once in a while, but we're just friends.
Okay. And do you recall how long Mr. Higley was in the hospital?
No, a week, I think. I think he was at Borges for our Bronson for a week, I think.
So,
and then I know he went to rehab after that, but I didn't go up there.
So it was when he was in Kalamazoo at the hospital, right off, staying with him.
Yes, and I only did it 2 nights.
And okay, and you saw Ms. Borden both of those times.
Yes.
And after Mr. Higley was released from the hospital and rehab, did you assist him in any way with his care when he was returned home?
Right. No.
I have no further questions.
Okay. Mr. Zoglio, any recross?
Can I have one moment, Your Honor?
I was wrong. It's not his sister. It's his friend, quote unquote. Please take this opportunity to like or dislike the video and also subscribe. Thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. I have a couple of follow-up questions. Ma'am, your ex-husband worked for Dale, right?
Yes.
Okay. Isn't it true that he would often participate in keg parties over there with Dale?
Your Honor.
Not to my knowledge, no. My husband was an alcoholic and he would drink, but he didn't drink around people. He would drink and individually on his own. So I don't know if he did that. I don't know that.
Isn't that why you divorced him, because of the parties and drinking too much?
He did not party. No, he did not party. My ex-husband would drink at home and he'd be drunk at home. That's why I divorced him. But he did not party. No.
Did he go to Dale's house?
To work. Yes, he went there to work. If he drank there, I don't know that answer. My ex-husband used to drink a lot, and that's why, yes, I am divorced, and I have full custody of my children.
Okay, no further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Dye, that will conclude your testimony. Thank you. You're excused. Have a good day.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Ms. McNiff, next witness.
Is there a Blaine Lotzenheiser?
I believe so. Let me see. What did you say the last name was?
Lotzenheiser?
A Blaine.
Blaine, yeah.
And spell that for me if you could, the last name.
Lautzenheiser.
Oh, wait, could you do it one more time, please? L-A-U.
Lautzenheiser.
Mr. Lautenheiser, we're going to take some testimony from you, so we're going to need you to raise your right hand and be sworn in, sir.
Okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Go ahead, Ms. McNiff.
Thank you. Mr. Lotzenheiser, I already spelled your name twice, so I'm going to exempt you from having to do that. Do you work?
I do. I'm at work right
where do you work?
It's WKW Herbslow. It's an aluminum extrusion facility over here in Portage, Michigan.
And are you okay to testify right now? You've got some time that you can do that?
Yeah, yep,
Okay. And do you know the parties?
I do.
And how do you know Mr. Higley?
Oh, Dale and I, we go way back. His mother actually was a really good friend of my dad. I believe that she was actually in management at Campbell Soup years ago. This is way back when I was probably like 5 years old. I used to go over to Dale's house when I was a kid, when my dad would hang out with his mom. He was quite busy back then, starting his tree business and stuff. He's done that for many, many years now. But I've known Dale for, man, it's got to be coming up on almost 30 years.
Okay. And do you know Ms. Borden?
I do. The last couple years, I think probably 3 years, 4 years.
And how do you know her?
Oakley's mother.
Okay. And in this your long-term relationship with Mr. Higley, in the past, have you seen him drink alcohol?
I haven't personally. He, like I said, whenever I was younger, he worked quite a bit, and then just recently with Oakley being born, anytime that he's been with Oakley or we've been over there, I've never seen him drink. I mean, I'm not gonna say that maybe he hasn't had a beer or something at a barbecue or something, but I've never seen him drink. I don't go to bars or anything and drink, and I have never seen him drink. So.
And have you been to parties at Mr. Higley's home with Ms. Borden?
We had Oakley's birthday, I believe, last year. And I want to say the previous year as well. I got 2 kids myself, so we do birthday parties together. And I think we've been to 2 of Oakley's birthday parties so far, but time flies. My kids are 6 and 3, and I believe Oakley is 3 this year, 4.
Okay.
So my timelines might be a little off, because like I said, time flies, and sometimes I can't really keep track of them. But yeah, we've been to some birthday parties and stuff. So.
Have you been to any parties where there weren't children present?
No. Nope.
Yeah. So can you describe what you've observed about Mr. Higley as a dad around Oakley?
Yeah, I mean, we go to the Airway, I think it's Airway Lanes over here in Kalamazoo together. We went bowling. I think one of the most frustrating things with Dale is that when we're talking, he definitely takes Oakley's attention as a priority, I guess I should say. So if I'm talking to Dale about something with, business related or whatever, if Oakley comes up to him, I mean, he's got full attention on her. I mean, he definitely makes, whether it's, posting photos of him going out and stuff on Facebook, he's always, staying really active with her. And, he always makes it a priority to make sure that she knows that he's there and listening to her. So.
Have you ever seen him have to correct her or discipline her?
I mean, like a normal parent, like if she'd come up and maybe if she was to interrupt like a normal kid would, she'd say, or he would say, give me a minute, buddy, or just 1 second. But I mean, I've never seen him like spank her or anything like that.
Okay. Have you ever seen him yell at her or swear at her?
Nope.
And have you seen Mr. Higley around your children?
Oh yeah. Yep.
How does he interact around your children?
Oh, they love him. Matter of fact, I think this weekend he brought a piece of equipment over, I believe. And I mean, as soon as he comes down the driveway, the kids come running around the corner, DJ's here, so they definitely enjoy having him come over. He's a young spirit, and the kids really enjoy having him around. So they get excited.
Other than bowling, what kinds of activities have you seen Mr. Higley do with Oakley?
Going up to the properties and stuff, the hiking with the snowshoes and going out on the boat. I mean, Dale has always been super active. I'm like a homebody. We go to the parties that are local, the birthday parties and stuff. He takes her up north a lot. And we don't get to make it on those trips as much, but I mean, he's constantly, trying to stay busy with her, and he's always, trying to keep her entertained and basically just, having fun while they're little and before she's going to be in school all the time. And then, off to college. So.
Have you gone to the Upper Peninsula with Mr. Higley?
I haven't yet. I'm pretty busy with work, and then I got young kids. We've talked about it and tried to make it up there. I have not been able to make it yet. We're planning it, so.
Okay. Do you have any concerns about Mr. Higley's ability to take care of Oakley?
No, absolutely not. I mean, like I said, he's always been responsible. I mean, like I said, way back to, I think as far as I can remember is like 5 years old. I mean, he's always, he's had his tree business for many years. It's successful. I mean, he's always provided for himself, and then, he provides for Oakley. He keeps all of his equipment in really good shape. I wouldn't have one thought or ill will towards having him around my kids or Oakley or anything. So
would you describe Mr. Higley as a big partier?
No.
And why not?
I don't see where I don't see between hanging out with Oakley and work and everything. I don't see where he would have tons of time to be out. And I mean, how do you maintain a business and a productive lifestyle and everything with if you were going out partying all the time?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the question and the answer on the grounds of lack of speculation and lack of foundation.
Well, I'll accept it for what he knows, and we'll limit it to that.
And I have no further questions.
Okay. Mr. Zoglio, any cross-examination?
I could have 1 second, Your Honor. Thank you. Appreciate it. Good morning, sir. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, thank you. So you said you've known Dale for 30 years. Is that right?
Since I've been a baby, like I said, I've been going over there. I'll be 33 this August. So as far back as I can remember being around him, I mean, it's probably been 27, 28, maybe more. Like I said, I've been around him probably longer than that. But as far back as I can remember, it's probably being like 5 years old. So maybe 28 years, 29 years, somewhere around there that I've personally interacted with him.
And you've been over to his house several times?
Yeah. Yep. His mom's and then his. Yep.
Okay. How many times? Well, let me withdraw that. So in the 28 years you've known him, you've been over to his house several times.
Yep.
But you didn't actually live with Dale, right?
No, I've never lived with him. No.
All right. And you never actually, did you ever live even for a short period of time with Dale and Heather when they were together?
Nope. I've had my own residence, my own house. When I turned, I think 17, 18 years old, we went out and bought our house. So nope, never lived with him.
Okay. And you've been over there for birthday parties and that kind of thing.
Yep.
All right. Sir, since you've been over there and since you've known him for 30 years, I'm going to ask you this question. Did you ever see, and I'm going to remind you, sir, you're under oath. Did you ever see a keg of beer in his house or shop?
I have not.
You've never seen any kind of beer?
You said a keg. I've never seen a keg.
Okay. What have you seen as far as beer over there?
I couldn't tell you like a manufacturer. I mean, I'm sure over 30 years I might have seen like a beer, but I've never seen beer pong table. Like you say, like people that were asking me partying, like I've never seen beer pong tables and keg stands and stuff like that. I've never ever seen anything like that.
Have you ever seen a large quantity of beer served to different people?
Maybe at one of the birthday parties, we may have had, some beer for the, obviously the adults, but I've never seen an exorbitant amount of, like I said, I've never seen a keg. I've never seen tables loaded down with beer, nothing like that.
So at birthday parties, there was beer, right?
Maybe out of the, I can't remember if it's been one or two of the parties or three of the parties that we've been at this current residence. maybe I've seen, an adult have a beer in their hand, but like I said, it's never been parties. Like it's never been these, anything like you'd say like a college party or nothing like that. It's always been a responsible, gathering. I want to say one of them, maybe because we took the tractor rides and stuff around, took all the kids. It's never been nothing even relatively close to any parties that I've experienced. So I don't drink maybe 4 beers a year myself. So.
Okay. But you weren't always at Dale's house. I mean, he has other friends besides you. Is that right?
Yeah. Dale's he's a liked person. I mean, he's got other friends than just me, and I wish I could, spend more time with him, but yeah, he's got other friends that he hangs out with and stuff like that. So,
have you ever been to? Well, let me ask you this: isn't it true that you would go out to dinner with him at the Grand River Brewery?
I've been, I think one time when they first opened, I think Heather and Dale invited me and I think it was me and my wife. I think we went down there, and I want to say, I think my son Christian and I think Oakley were with us that time. That was the only time that we've been down there, I believe.
So you only went to the Grand River Brewery one time with Dale?
I want to say it's may have been maybe a couple times, 1 or 2, maybe 3 since they've been open.
So let me just understand your testimony here. You've known Dale for at least 28 years. And of those 28 years, you're saying that you only been to the Grand River Brewery with him 3 times. Is that what your testimony is?
Maybe 3.
And while he was at the Grand River Brewery with you, was he drinking alcohol?
I don't remember. I'm pretty sure that Oakley and I think Christian, my son, and my wife was with us, and Heather was with us. I don't remember that. I know that they remember is that that when they invited us down there, they had mentioned that they had really good serving sizes of food, and you get a lot of food for the money, and that's what I remember is that really good food, and that's why we don't, like I said, we're homebodies, and when we hang out with them, it's it's at the house or like I said, we've went over to Airway Lanes and.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the answer as being non-responsive to the question.
Well,
witness is giving a narrative, trying to deflect from the question.
Well, just ask a specific question then.
What was the question?
The question was, when you were at the Grand River Brewery, did you ever see Dale drinking at the Grand River Brewery?
I don't believe so. I don't think Heather. I don't think either of us had. I know. I'm trying to think if it was one or 2 times. I honestly don't think like I said, when they invited us down there, it was it's right down the road from the Stagecoach, and one of the big things that they pointed on, Heather and Dale, was that the portion sizes of the food were really good.
Same objection, Your Honor.
Okay, well.
Same objection.
Lautenheiser, simply just answer the question he asked and stop. Okay, so.
No, I did not. I don't remember either of them drinking, as far as I can remember.
Did you ever attend any other bars with Dale since you've known him for so long?
No, I don't think. Nope.
Okay. Do you live close by? Do you live in the area?
I live in East Leroy.
Okay. How far is that from Dale's house?
You'd have to pull out Google. You'd have to pull out your phone, and I don't know the exact distance.
Okay. Has Dale ever been to your house?
Oh yeah.
Isn't it true that he's had beers over at your house?
Most of the time that he's come over, birthday parties and stuff. I mean, like I said, he's probably had maybe, because we don't drink really. He's probably had a beer. It's not It's not like we're having some crazy vendors and stuff. I mean,
I'm not asking you that, sir. I'm asking you if he drinks beer over at your house. Has he drank beer over your house?
oh, I'm sure he's drank a beer before, but when you say drink, there's you can't just ask me, has he drank beer and then say, well, they're right
Sir,
there.
I'm going to object again. I can ask the question. I can ask any question I want to you.
Okay.
I think this has been asked and answered.
No.
All right.
But can I answer? I mean, the way you're asking me them though is can
Okay,
I? Answer?
Mr. Lautenheiser, if there's an objection to the question, I'll leave that up to the attorneys. You can't object to the question. Just answer the question as best you can, sir.
Sir, do you have U of M tickets?
No.
You go to U of M games?
Nope.
Have you ever been to a U of M game with Mr. Higley?
Nope.
Have you ever been to any of his pool leagues?
Nope.
Golf leagues?
Nope.
Let me ask you, have you witnessed my client's parenting ability?
Yeah, we've had, like I said, we've had him over for birthday parties and stuff. I want to say it was a Halloween party too that we did. We drove the tractors around and took all the kids on like a hayride. I want to say.
Do you have any qualms about my client's ability to take care of Oakley?
No, nope.
Okay. Your Honor, I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. McNiff, any redirect?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Lautenheiser, thank you for your testimony. You're excused. You have a good day.
Thanks, you too.
Is there a Mark Michaels?
There is this person, and he was not able to connect to audio.
Well, we'll see who he is.
Hopefully he's not one of my witnesses waiting. It's Mike.
It's yours?
It is mine. I have no problem with taking his testimony now if Ms. McNiff wants to do that, but if she wants to wait, that's fine.
The problem is that he's not connected to audio, and he tried, and he's not getting my messages here on Zoom.
Oh, okay. So then I guess not.
Yeah, he's gonna have to rejoin. But that's not your witness, right, Lisa?
That's correct.
Okay.
Defendant's
I mean, I wouldn't have any objection to taking you out of order if that was. Do I have anybody else in the waiting room?
I have Lewis Williams and Matthew Sell, Cassie Thielen, Christopher Hogg, and Terry Borden.
Let's take Christopher Hogg.
Okay. He's connecting.
Mr. Hogg, good morning. We're going to take some testimony from you. So we'll need to have you raise your right hand and be sworn in, then we'll proceed.
Okay. Unmute, please, first. Okay. There we go. Sir, do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Go ahead, Ms. McNiff.
Thank you. Mr. Hogg, do you spell your last name H-U-G?
I do.
And do you work?
I do work, yep.
And what is your job?
Currently with the Calhoun County Sheriff Department as a deputy.
And are you married?
I am.
And do you have any children?
Yes.
How old are your children?
Ranging from 4 to 24.
Oh, how many children do you have?
4.
And do you know the parties?
Involved in this case?
Correct.
I do, yep.
And how do you know Mr. Higley?
I've known Dale since 4th grade, about 1987.
Were you in school together?
We went through elementary grade school together. I've worked with him off and on for the last couple of years.
When you say you've worked with him in the last couple of years, what have you worked with him on?
Mostly doing tree service work, helping him out if he needs hands with something else.
So you moonlight as a tree trimmer?
Yep, from time to time, yeah.
And do you know Ms. Borden?
I do.
And how do you know her?
So I met Miss Borden through Dale a few years ago.
And do you know their daughter?
Oakley, yeah, she's a good little girl.
How often are you able to see Oakley?
Few times a month we see each other. Sometimes a little more if I stop by and she's over at his house.
And what have you observed about the way Dale and Oakley interact?
Funny you say, it reminds me a lot of being around his mom. She watched over me when I was younger, growing up when my father was working. So it was a single parent home, and I would go over to their house. So he reminds me a lot of his mom and taking care of him.
What kinds of things does he do that remind you of his mom?
He tends to helicopter a little bit, if I may say. He's always trying to make sure she's staying safe and keeping her from getting into things. And I think a lot of that comes with being, the first child that you have. You tend to do that as you get a few more, you give them a little more space because things are going to be all right, a little more faithful.
Have you ever seen him discipline Oakley?
He tends to, it seems, not raise his voice too much, but I mean, he does get after when she gets outside the curb lines.
And like what kinds of things would you consider getting outside the curb lines?
He might elevate his voice a little bit, but I've never seen him yell at her or anything like that.
Okay. Have you ever seen him swear at her?
No.
Have you ever seen him use any corporal discipline?
No.
And have you ever gone to parties at Mr. Higley's home?
We did have our 25th school reunion over there. There were some adults over there afterwards, but I don't believe she was there that night.
And when you say she, you mean Oakley?
Oakley, yeah. I believe Heather was there. And then we've had a few family gatherings over here, some of our friends with all the kids, and we have it's kind of funny, a little stair sliding party where we have kids going down the stairs in a clothes basket on cardboard with pillows. It's pretty fun. Just everybody gets together, have a little adult time. All the kids play together and they go up to the rooms and whatnot.
And when you have these gatherings and the children are there, is there any alcohol?
Sometimes some of the parents will, but most of the time it's not so much.
And when you've seen Mr. Higley with Oakley, does he drink?
I've never seen him drink around her.
Have you ever seen him smoke any marijuana around her?
I've never seen him do that ever.
And have you ever seen Ms. Borden drink when she has the care of Oakley?
I've never seen her drinking around her either, no.
And now you said there was this 25th reunion. Was it like an after party?
Yeah, it was more of an after party. We had the celebration, gathering friends for dinner, and then we went to his place afterward. And
was there drinking at that party?
Well, there were some adult beverages, yeah.
Okay. And were people getting intoxicated?
Not that I could recollect.
Okay. Were there any children at that particular gathering?
I don't remember seeing any kids there. No, it was just the adults that all went to school together.
Do you have any concerns about Dale's drinking when he has the care of Oakley?
No, I've never seen him drinking when she was around.
And do you have any concerns about his drinking when he doesn't have her? Do you think he's a problem drinker when she's not around?
I'd object. I would object on the grounds that would call for expert opinion.
Well, Officer Huggs testified that he's a Calhoun County deputy sheriff. I can ask him if he's arrested people who are intoxicated and has that expertise.
Why don't you set a foundation, Ms. McNiff?
Officer Hugg, have in your experience as a police officer, have you had contact with people who are intoxicated?
Yes.
And how often do you run into intoxicated people in the course of your work?
Well, currently I'm working night shifts, so actually quite frequently.
And are there people who you see more often than others who are intoxicated?
Yes.
Do you ever see people more than one time who are intoxicated?
Yes.
Are you trained to spot people who are intoxicated?
Yes.
And in your experience with Mr. Higley, have you ever seen him in a state where you were concerned about his level of intoxication?
No.
And in the event that you were around Mr. Higley and he had been intoxicated on a regular basis, what would you do?
That's a very subjective question.
I would object on the form of the question, Your Honor. I believe Mr. Huggs' testimony was that he only has been there a few times a month. And the question seemed to include words that he was around Mr. Higley on a regular basis, which is not his testimony.
Well, re-ask the question, Ms. McNiff, just to clarify.
I will. Have you ever had reason to express concern to Mr. Higley about his drinking of alcohol?
No.
Would you trust Mr. Higley with your children?
Yeah, I mean, depend upon the situation. Yeah, if he had to watch my kids because I had an emergency that I had to go to bridge the gap between when regular care gets here, that I don't think that would be an issue. He's a very responsible person. He's been a business owner since 1996.
And do you have any concerns about his ability to take care of his daughter?
No.
I have no further questions.
Okay. Mr. Zoglio, any cross-examination?
Thank you.
Okay.
So you've been a police officer for how many years?
Pushing in on 17 years in law enforcement, and I began 6 years prior to that as a youth specialist at the Calhoun County Juvenile Home.
So I'm sure that you've handled many drunk driving cases, correct?
I've had a few, sir.
Okay. And in your experience being a business owner, I'm sure you've pulled a few business owners over for drunk driving over the years, correct?
I would say a couple, yeah.
Yeah. In fact, you probably pulled over all different shapes and sizes of people for drunk driving. Maybe even lawyers or doctors. Is that accurate?
I may have. I've been around. I worked in Battle Creek for almost 15 years. So the majority of the clientele that I came across in Battle Creek were not lawyers and doctors and whatnot. I worked inside the city the majority of the times, but I would guess to venture that I may have.
All right. So being a business owner does not exempt you from being an alcoholic. Is that right?
Well, that would be a fair statement, I would say. Lots of different people are alcoholics.
Okay. And again, you said that you've been over there a few times, over at Dale's house. Is that since the party separated, or is that before that?
I've been there a few times since the parties have separated, yeah.
What about while they were still together?
What about? I'm not understanding your question.
Okay, thank you. I'll clarify, sir. You said a few times since they separated. How how much did you go over there when they were still together?
Last year, more often than maybe 3 or 4 times a week, off and on.
Did you ever attend any parties in his shop or any gatherings in his shop?
Yeah, I don't know if you were listening. I believe you were listening at the time. That was the only actual party I've been to there, was the after party for our 25th graduation.
And was there a keg or some type of beverage container for people alcohol at that party?
There was alcohol there.
Okay, was there a keg?
I believe there was in a tub.
Okay. Where was the keg?
Well,
what you described, where was it?
I believe it was in the shop area. There were some tables set up, and that was set up in the shop area.
Okay. Is that the only time you've been in the shop?
No, I've been in the shop. We would usually start the day for work there, either inside or with the equipment outside.
Is that the only time you saw the keg, or had you seen it at other times?
I saw that keg there. I know he has a refrigerator out there in the shop too that he keeps food and drinks in and stuff like that.
Does he keep beer in the refrigerator?
I've seen beer in there, yeah.
All right. Does he keep a keg in the shop?
I don't know if he has a keg in there or not.
Okay. So you've testified today that you don't have any reason to believe that he's, well, let me just ask you this. Being that you've only gone over there a few times, you're not around him enough to make an assessment of whether or not he has attempted to drive drunk. Is that fair to say?
Well, I know that when I'm around him, he's not intoxicated driving to job sites and whatnot. I mean,
But
whether
what about-
he comes home after work and has a few beers, I don't know, but I don't think that's against the law.
Okay. Do you have knowledge of him coming home after work and having a few beers?
I've seen a couple of the guys have a few beers there afterwards.
Including Dale?
I saw him once do that. It wasn't like a regular thing, but
Good.
I mean,
All right. But back to my original question. Since you're only over there, you've only been over there a few times, according to your testimony, I've separated. Is it fair to say that Dale could have gotten in the car and tried to drive or drive drunk before without your knowledge or
Well,
your personal knowledge? Because you've only been there a few times. Is that fair to say?
it would be fair to say that a lot of things could have happened. Yeah, I would say that. I mean,
Okay. Did Dale ever tell you about the time, September 3rd, 2022, when a gentleman had to drive him home because he was trying to drive his car drunk? Did he ever tell you about that?
no.
You said that he doesn't smoke marijuana, or maybe I misunderstood you.
I said I've never seen him do that.
Okay. Have you ever seen the marijuana plants on his property?
No.
If I were to tell you that he grew marijuana with another gentleman on his property, would you be able to refute that?
Would I be able to refute that?
Yes, sir.
As in, can you ask the question in another way?
You don't have. I guess I don't have to, but I will.
Okay.
You don't. You've said you never seen him smoke marijuana. but you've also not inspected his property. Have you gone out to his property and looked on the land?
I've looked around. The majority of what we do is work-related things. I've stopped by and hung out a little bit, but like I said, I've never seen it. No, I do know that people tend to do that here in Michigan now. So,
Because it's legal?
well, according to Laura, it's legal.
Okay. Do you have any knowledge of Mr. Higley smoking marijuana at all?
I've never seen him do it. I don't know if he does. I don't know if either party does partake in that.
Okay. Do you know my client at all?
Miss Borden, yes, I know Heather.
Okay. Do you have any reason to be concerned about any of her parenting ability in any way?
She's been a good mother as far as I know. They both have been good parents to Oakley. Both responsible working adults.
Okay. I didn't really ask you that. I'm just asking you about my client.
Right.
But since you brought up the responsible adults, I want to explore that a little bit with you. You said that you've only been over there a few times when the parties were together. Was that correct?
Okay, well, when they were together, I was over there. They were usually there. Sometimes she was working. I know she was working from the road,
Okay.
and traveling.
But being that you didn't live with them, you're not really qualified to say how responsible they are as it relates to Oakley, because you don't have any personal knowledge of that. Is that fair to say?
I don't think so. Because when I am around them and she's there, I think that they displayed what I would consider responsible parenting for her.
But what about when you're not there, sort of behind the scenes, Mr. Hug? What about when you're not there? You don't have any personal knowledge of what goes on. Is that fair?
That would be fair to say. If I wasn't there, I couldn't see what was going on.
So you can't really say overall that either parent is that responsible, because you're not there full time, so you don't really know what goes on behind the scenes.
Your Honor, objection. Relevancy, of course, nobody knows what's happening when they're not there.
Sustain the objection.
Do you know a gentleman named Matt Sill?
I do.
Does he grow marijuana?
I could not tell you whether he does or not.
Doesn't he have it? Haven't you ever seen him wear a T-shirt about growing marijuana?
Not that I can recall, no.
Have you ever attended any pool leagues with Mr. Higley?
No.
Have you ever attended any of his golf leagues?
No.
How many times have you been to the Grand River Brewery or any bars with Mr. Higley?
I've never been to the Grand River with him.
Okay. Have you attended any other bars with Mr. Higley in the last 2 years?
Maybe 2 years ago, I went with him and Matt to a place in Battle Creek for a burger and fries. We played
What was the name of that place?
Oh, it's changed. It used to be called Don's. It was down on Michigan Avenue, but that's the only time I've been to a place like that with them.
Okay. Now, you said you've worked with Mr. Higley in his tree cutting business. You're sort of moonlighting as a tree cutter. Is that right, sir?
Correct.
All right. How often have you done that?
Last year, the year before, it was 2 to maybe 3 days a week during the season.
And during the season, what kind of hours would Dale have as a tree cutter with you?
That was dependent upon storms. We didn't have too many big storms. He was usually pretty reasonable about the hours. I know it can be longer when there are storms and they have more work, but for the most part, we started around 6, 7 o'clock, depending on the daylight savings, and then usually out about 2 or 3 o'clock if we get the work done quick, sometimes a little longer.
Do you ever go out at night for emergency storm work with him?
I haven't been out at night for emergency storm work, but I know that it can happen.
He's discussed this with you and he's told you that he could be called out in the middle of the night and do storm work. Is that right?
Correct. If he chooses to. I know he did that more frequently before Oakley was born, when I wasn't working with him.
Okay. At the time that you were working with him, you said 2 to 3 days for a while. Who was watching Oakley?
She was usually with, as far as I knew, Heather, mom, or his mother when she was around. I believe Heather's mom used to help watching her too.
Okay. So while Dale's mom was alive, she would watch her. And while Heather's mom was alive, she could watch her, or Heather could watch her. Is that right?
I believe so.
All right. Now, recently, have you helped him out recently, like in the last couple of months? Have you worked with him?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay. When's the last time you worked?
Oh, last fall, I would say, was about the last time I worked with him.
Last fall?
Correct. Yeah, at the end of the season.
Okay. So Dale's mom had passed away prior to that time, correct?
I believe she passed just after that. It may have been just before that, though.
All right. Okay. Were you ever involved in Dale's snow plowing business?
No.
Do you have any personal knowledge of him doing that? Has he told you about that?
I know he used to plow snow, and also do take care of lawns as part of his business, but I believe he had stopped. He had informed me he had stopped snow plowing. He wasn't going to be doing it as much.
So he stopped his snow plowing business now?
As far as I knew, he didn't have those accounts. He may still have them. I don't know.
Okay. All right. All right. I don't have any further questions for Mr. Or Officer Hug. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Oh, hold on, sir. Ms. McNiff, you have any redirect?
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Hogg, thank you for your testimony, your excuse. You have a good day.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir. You as well.
Next witness.
Can you tell me who's in the waiting room?
So we have Lewis Williams, Matthew Sill, Cassie Thelen, Terry Wharton, and one of Mr. Zoglio's
Okay.
witnesses.
We'll go with Matthew Sill.
Okay. Please unmute Mr. Sill.
Hello? Yes, Mr. Sill, we're going to take some testimony from you. I see you're driving. I don't want you to get in an accident or anything, so I'll ask that you pull over and get to a point where you could testify and not be at risk of getting in an accident.
You got
Do it right up here.
Okay.
Okay.
I hope the connection stays stable.
Yeah. Okay,
Hey there.
Mr. Sill, are you parked?
Yes.
Okay. What we're going to do is have you raise your right hand. We'll have you sworn in, then we'll proceed.
Okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Go ahead, Ms. McNiff.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Mr. Sill, do you spell your last name Sill?
That is correct.
Mr. Sill, do you work?
Yes, I do.
And what do you do?
I install countertops.
Do you have any children?
I do.
And how many children do you have?
I have 3 children.
And how old are they?
18, 15, and 18, 16, and 9.
And do you know Mr. Higley?
Yes, I do.
Do you know Ms. Borden?
I do.
And have you ever spent time with them at their home before they separated?
I have.
And have you ever gone to parties at their home when they were together?
I have.
And are you familiar with their daughter Oakley?
I am.
And when you would go to parties, did you see Oakley at the house?
I did.
And did you ever see either of the parties engage in drinking any alcohol?
I have.
And was that just Mr. Higley, or was that Ms. Borden as well?
They both did.
And did you ever see a keg at the house?
A keg at the house?
Correct.
I have.
Okay.
I didn't get that answer, sir. What was that?
I have seen a keg at the house.
Okay, thank you.
And did you ever see either of the parties making Jello shots or mixed drinks?
Yes.
And who would do that?
Heather would make the Jello shots and the mixed drinks.
And were these parties for families? Were there children there, or were these adult parties?
Often there were other children there.
Older children or little children?
Older, and well, my kids came over a few times.
Okay. And did you often see smaller children, like under 5?
Yeah.
Okay. And when you would go to these parties, did you observe Mr. Higley become intoxicated?
I've seen him drink, and yes, he's become intoxicated.
Okay. And what about Ms. Borden? Did you ever see her intoxicated at these parties?
I have.
And what kind of condition have you seen Mr. Higley in when he's been intoxicated?
He's generally okay. A little slurred speech, but nothing outrageous.
Have you ever seen him get angry at people when he's intoxicated?
Not with me, no.
Okay. Have you ever seen him, be angry at Ms. Borden when he's intoxicated?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. And what about Ms. Borden? When you've seen her intoxicated, what kind of condition has she been in?
When I was around, they were both generally happy.
Okay. Did you ever see her become angry or inappropriate when she was intoxicated?
Not when she was intoxicated.
Have you seen her being angry and inappropriate when she was sober?
I have.
And can you describe, give me an idea of when that was?
Well, there was a time I'd gone up to Paradise to work at the restaurant that they owned. And at the end of the day, she would get real angry with Dale and say that he's not helping or anything, and start screaming. And that was about that.
And where was Oakley when this was going on?
I believe Oakley was with Heather's mom.
And was that accurate that Mr. Higley had not been helping?
No, that was just the end of the day. We'd both been working really hard and taking a break at the end of the day.
Now, when you say Paradise, do you mean Paradise, Michigan?
That's the one.
And do the parties own property there?
To my knowledge, yes.
And what would you do when you went up with Mr. Higley to that property?
Help with cooking or dishes or some prep work for the restaurant.
So did you do any kind of construction work or maintenance?
Not me, no.
And did you observe Ms. Borden's mother when you were there?
I did.
And what did you observe about her?
I didn't see her a lot. When I did see her. I had to go back into the back area of the restaurant to get some ice, I believe it was, at one point in time. And that was the time I saw her. She was asleep on the couch while Oakley was playing on the floor in front of a television.
And do you have any idea of approximately how old Oakley would have been at the time?
I would say 2 years old, maybe just under.
And in the last 2 years, have you been up to Paradise to assist the parties?
I haven't, no.
Was that the last time that you saw Ms. Borden's mom?
That was.
Do you have any concerns about her ability to take care of Oakley based on what you observed?
Other than the fact that the one time I did see her trying to take care of Oakley, she was asleep.
And what did you observe, if anything, about her physical condition?
She has a limp, walks with a cane. I don't know her well, no.
When you were up there, at any point did you see her pick up Oakley?
No.
Have you ever observed either of the parties putting Oakley to bed?
No.
Okay. Have you ever observed anyone when either at their home or at the restaurant up north smoking inside of their home?
No.
Have you ever seen anyone outside of their home smoking either cigarettes or marijuana?
Outside of the home, yes.
And would that be cigarettes or marijuana or both?
Generally, it was me smoking cigarettes and or marijuana.
Okay. And when you would go inside their home, could you smell cigarettes and marijuana if you've been smoking outside?
During the time they were together, I didn't go up into the living area of the house very often at all. I mainly, when I would hang out, is there's a garage underneath. Okay. And it has the general smell of a garage.
Okay. And does what's Mr. Higley's position on smoking cigarettes inside?
Objection, calls for speculation.
I can withdraw and re-ask.
Okay, please do.
Has Mr. Higley ever spoken to you about cigarettes, smoking?
He insists that I smoke the cigarettes outside.
And why is that? Has he told you?
He doesn't smoke. He doesn't like the smell, and he said that you could smell it upstairs if somebody was smoking downstairs. So he asked that the cigarettes and stuff be smoked outside.
Okay. And does Mr. Higley allow you to smoke marijuana around Oakley?
I haven't even tried.
Okay. And have you known Mr. Higley since before his motorcycle accident?
I have.
And have you been around him much since his accident?
I have.
Approximately, like, before his accident, how many times would you see him a month?
I mean, it varied. We've been friends for over 20 years now. Sometimes I see him a lot in a month, and sometimes I see him once or twice.
Okay, and is that true now as well?
Yes.
Since his accident, have you seen any change in his alcohol consumption?
It's gone down as far as I know. We don't drink. We don't drink as heavy as we used to.
And have you seen Mr. Other than the parties, have you seen Mr. Higley drink alcohol around Oakley?
No.
And have you seen Ms. Borden drink alcohol around Oakley? Other than
Since
parties.
other than the parties, no.
Do you have any concerns about either Ms. Borden or Mr. Higley's parenting abilities?
I don't.
What do you observe about Mr. Higley when he has Oakley? How does he interact with her?
He's playful and attentive.
Have you ever seen him discipline her?
No, I haven't.
Is that because she hasn't acted up, or?
Not that I'm around them a lot, but during the times I've been around, there hasn't been any call for discipline.
And have your children been around Mr. Higley?
They have.
And how do they interact with him?
It's the same. They're playful and happy.
I have no further questions.
Okay. Mr. Zarglio, any cross?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Sill, you made the statement just a minute ago that you and Dale don't drink as heavy as we used to. Do you remember saying that?
I did.
Can you describe, sir, since you know Dale so well and been around him a lot, can you describe the drinking that he used to do?
No.
With you?
No.
You can't. What did you mean then? We don't drink as heavy as we used to. What does that mean?
Well, we've been friends since our 20s. Back then we could really, let it get away. We've both been getting older. Have a few beers if we're going to have them. Try to keep it under control.
When you say let it get away, are you talking about being intoxicated in your 20s?
Yes.
All right. And is that what you meant by you and him don't drink as heavy as you used to?
That's correct.
All right. Is it fair to say, sir, that even though you used to drink with him, maybe we'll call you a drinking buddy? Is that fair to say?
Okay.
All right. But you weren't around him 24/7 when he lived with Heather. You just came over for parties and things. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right. So when you say that he doesn't drink as heavy as he used to, that's just when he's around you. That's what you observe, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Do you know if Dale ever participated in any alcohol rehab things like AA or inpatient treatment or anything like that?
Not to my knowledge.
All right. Did you ever participate in any beer pong games with Dale?
I have.
Can you tell the judge what beer pong is?
You try to throw ping pong balls into cups partially filled with water.
All right. And is that a drinking game?
Not necessarily.
So are you saying that the cups would be filled with water and not beer?
That's correct.
So why is it called beer pong?
I don't know. I didn't name it.
So what happens? How do you play that game? If you get the ball in the cup, what happens?
then that cup gets put to the side. The goal is to eliminate all the cups.
Don't you have to drink some of the cups at some point?
You don't have to.
Okay. Were you drinking beer while you were playing beer pong at least?
On occasion, yes.
Okay. Were you ever involved in a pool league with Dale?
I was.
What night's the pool league on? Or was on?
Back then, I think that pool league was a Tuesday, maybe Thursday. Yeah, I think it was the one we were together on was Thursday.
Do we
Is that
establish years?
Fair question. Can you tell me
Beg your
what
pardon?
years?
Let's see. This is 2023, maybe 2016, 2017, perhaps.
Were you involved in any pool leagues with him after 2016 or 17?
I don't think so.
Do you not recall, or you just don't know for sure?
We were teammates on a team for one session, and then that team dissolved, and I play now in Battle Creek, and he doesn't play on the pool league anymore.
Okay. At the pool league, when you participated with Dale, was that at a bar?
Usually, yes.
And I assume that during the pool league, everybody's having a beer at the bar while they're playing.
No, that's a tough assumption. Not everybody drinks.
Okay. Were you and Dale drinking during the pool league when you had that? It looks like I lost him for a minute, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Can you repeat your answer, Mr. Sill? I think you kind of froze for a second.
Okay. Yes, we would have some drinks at the pool league.
All right. How much would you drink at the pool league?
Your Honor, if this
Usually about-
predates the birth of the child, I'm not really sure what the relevance is.
Okay, Mr. Zoglio, how's it relevant if it's before the child was born?
Well, he said he wasn't sure after that, and there's been plenty of testimony about alcohol after the child was born.
Well, let's confine it to that. He said that it was in 2016 or 2017. That was prior to the child's birth, so confine it to the time the child was alive.
Okay. So in these pool leagues, did you ever see Heather and Oakley come to any of the games, any of the pool games?
No.
Do you remember a situation at the Holiday Inn in Battle Creek where you guys were drinking? And Oakley was there? Okay, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase the question.
I don't recall this situation.
Was there a situation where there was a pool league or game finals in the Battle Creek, and you and Dale were playing, and then Heather brought Oakley to come and watch?
I don't know if there was a tournament at that Battle Creek Holiday Inn that Dale did play in. I know I went there to watch one, and I went there to participate in one, but I don't recall if Dale was even playing in the pool league at that point in time.
So you don't recall if Heather and Oakley went there during that pool league tournament? You don't have any recollection of that?
I don't. 'Cause if Dale had been playing in leagues, we would have been on the same team. We haven't played on a pool league team together in quite some time. I don't. I mean, I've been down to the pool tournament at the Holiday Inn twice. Once I was just watching, and once I participated. I don't recall if Dale being there at all.
Okay, so you just don't recall, correct?
I mean, seems like it would be something I would recall if it had happened. I don't remember him being there at all.
All right. Sir, can you adjust your camera because I can only see the top of your head?
Well, I'm trying to listen to you as well. I was in a spot where trucks started driving past me, so I'm on the road again.
You're driving now?
Yes, I actually have someplace to be. I was trying to hold out for this court hearing, but.
Well, sir, I'm not going to take any testimony from you if you're driving because I don't want you being distracted and being an accident.
All right. So we're through?
No, not necessarily. What we're going to have to do is, if you're going to have to pull over to not be driving, or we're going to have to take your testimony later, but I'm not going to take it when you're distracted.
I've got a parking lot coming up. Give me a second.
Okay.
Let me know when you're pulled over, sir.
Okay. All right, go ahead, shoot.
Okay, thank you. About 2 or 3 years ago, were you in a pool league at Saints and Sinners with Dale?
Dale was not on my team, no.
Did he show up to the pool league?
On occasion, he would, yes.
Okay. What would he do if he wasn't on the team?
There's open tables you can shoot at.
Okay. So he was just sort of visiting you?
Amongst other people.
All right. And I assume he was drinking at that time. Drinking alcohol.
He had some alcohol.
Thank you. Sir, you said you've smoked marijuana over at Dale's house, but you said that you did it outside. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Did Dale supply you with the marijuana?
Not usually, no.
Okay. Did Dale ever smoke marijuana with you outside?
Yes.
Okay. Did Dale grow marijuana on his property?
I've never seen marijuana growing on Dale's property.
Okay. When he was smoking marijuana with you outside, was he also drinking alcohol, beer, anything?
Yes.
And while he was outside with you smoking marijuana and drinking beer, where was Oakley?
I don't know.
Okay. Where was Heather?
I don't know.
Okay.
Probably with Oakley.
All right. Sir, you mentioned that you haven't been to the Berry Patch restaurant in the last 2 years. I don't know if you called it the Berry Patch, but I think you testified about the restaurant up in Paradise, right?
Right.
Okay. Let me just ask you this before I get to that. Did you help Dale set up growing marijuana in his basement?
I did not.
Did you help Matt Sills grow marijuana in his basement?
Honor, objection.
I am Matt Sill.
Excuse me,
Oh,
Okay.
Ms. McNiff?
Mr. Sill took care of it.
Okay.
Do you have any knowledge if Dale helped Matt Sill grow
I
marijuana?
am that Bill, and I did have 4 plants of marijuana grown in my basement. I did that myself.
Your Honor, I'm not sure the relevances of Mr. Sill growing marijuana unless there's some
Well, that was-
allegation he's being a child care provider for Oakley at his house.
I,
All right,
I don't either unless you can tie it up, Mr. Zoglio.
I'm gonna move on.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, back to this, the restaurant issue. You're in the Berry Patch restaurant, right? You were talking about that restaurant up in the Upper Peninsula at the Party Zone together,
The Berry Patch restaurant, right?
right? And you said you haven't been up there in the last 2 years,
At
right?
least.
Okay, so it's been at least 2 years. All right. So if I were to tell you that basically, Heather was running that restaurant on her own recently, would you have any reason to dispute that?
I don't.
Okay. And at a time you were up there, you said that she was angry. Heather was angry and not appropriate. Do you remember your testimony about that? She got angry at you and Dale.
Yes.
Is that because she at the time was doing all the work herself and you both were drinking?
Okay.
And did Heather ever tell you that people have quit because of Dale's anger and drinking?
Nobody told me that.
Okay. Did Dale ever tell you that that Heather has had to do things at least for a while there on her own because Dale has not helped her?
Believe that's been since the accident.
Okay. Did you ever attend any like campfires or any like, I don't want to use the word campfires, but like just sitting outside? You've already testified that you've had marijuana and beer with Dale outside, but did you ever were you ever there at any like campfire situations between when you were there drinking or smoking marijuana with Dale?
Yes.
And isn't it true at that time that Heather was inside with Oakley at the time and not out at the campfire? Isn't that fair to say?
I'm not sure if she's fond of campfires. Can we move this along?
Is that an answer? Is that a yes answer to my question, sir?
I don't recall seeing her at the fire, no, but I don't know.
Thank you. You said you've also testified that when Dale used to get drunk, he would have slurred speech. Is that right?
On occasion, yes.
All right. And you also testified that you had witnessed Heather make Jello shots and mixed drinks.
Yes.
Was that for a kayak trip that never happened?
Oh, kayak trip happened.
Okay. Was that when there was the Jello shots and the mixed drinks?
It wasn't just that time.
Okay. And that was was that an adult trip, the kayak trip?
I believe Oakley was there.
Okay. Now you also testified that there was a keg in Dale's house. Is that right?
At one point in time, yes.
Okay. Can you tell me when that point in time was?
Not specifically. I don't think there's been a keg in there in quite some time.
But would you agree with me, sir, that a keg there
Late
is,
for an appointment if we could move.
I'm sorry?
I am running late for an appointment now. If we could move this along.
Your Honor, I have a few more questions, but I'm,
Okay, well, sir, we'll try to get you out. We'll just have to go through all the questions.
Okay. Well, quit reminding me of my testimony and ask questions, please.
I'd ask that be stricken.
Or we'll strike it. Just move along, Mr. Zoglio. Ask him questions.
Thank you. And you would agree, sir, that a keg in the house, that's for several people and not just one person to drink out of, correct?
That would be correct.
All right. And that would be for parties or, get-togethers with the guys. Is that right?
Not necessarily.
Okay. Did you ever drink from the keg in Dale's shop?
I have.
All right. Were you with other people?
Yeah, I wasn't alone.
Okay. Were there other people there?
Yes, sir.
Was Chris Hugg there?
Wow. I don't believe I've ever seen Chris Hugg drink out of that keg.
Who have you seen drink out of that keg besides you and Dale?
Workers that have worked for Dale at the tree service, friends of ours.
Okay. What about Blaine Lotzenheiser?
I don't know Blaine.
Okay. Can you name some of those workers that were there?
Not first and last names.
Give me first names.
Oh, Mike. I don't know. What the hell was Tugboat's name? No, I can't name people for that.
What about Lucky?
Oh yeah, Lucky. Yeah.
What's Lucky's real name?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. All right, Your Honor, I don't believe I have any further questions.
Ms. McNiff, do you have any redirect?
I have two really quick questions, and I do apologize. Mr. Sill, do you ever see Mr. Dale with Oakley alone?
I have.
And when he's the only adult in charge of her, do you see him drink alcohol or smoke marijuana around her?
No.
And the time that you talked about when Ms. Borden was angry at the berry patch, had you and Mr. Higley worked that day?
The whole day.
I have no further questions.
Okay. Mr. Zoglio, anything else?
Just very briefly, you've already testified that you have no problem with my client and her parenting ability. Is that correct, Mr.
Zoglio? That goes beyond the scope of the redirect, so please confine yourself.
Your Honor, I don't have any further questions. I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sill. That concludes your testimony. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too, sir.
Thank you.
Next witness, Ms. McNiff.
I'm sorry to keep asking, but who do we have in the waiting room?
Louis Williams, Cassie, Terry Morton, and Mr. Zoglio's.
We don't need to know that.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that beginning first part of what I believe will turn out to be a pretty feisty divorce. That last witness was certainly getting a little bit snippy at the attorneys. Anyways, I would love to hear what you thought about it down below. Please make sure you're subscribed because part 2 will be coming soon. Thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you later. Bye.